Welcome to my channel. My name is Isabel Delali, and on this channel I encourage, I motivate, I inspire. I talk about growth, talk about financial growth, personal development. I talk about spiritual growth, the walk with Christ. Yes, I talk about all of that on this channel. So you are at the right place, right? So this morning again, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I want to talk about encouraging I want to encourage you, as we enter this new week. I encourage you, to remain fixed and focused on Christ, right? Okay, so today I want to read from Psalm 9. Psalm 9 verse 10. Yeah, Psalm 9 verse 10, and it reads, "Those who know your name trust in you. For you, Lord, have never forsaken those who seek you," right? That the Lord is faithful. The Lord never, he will never abandon you and never forsake you, right? So, on this walk with Christ, we all know that his word is true. God is so faithful. God is so faithful. If he promised something, he does it, right? Okay, let me give a little testimony before I go any further. My son, I'm married, I've got kids, and when my son was in secondary school, he was having difficulties. The secondary school that he started, we put him in a local, secondary school. He had a lot of problems there. He was never settled. I think that's the word. And then obviously there were issues with, the class, the teachers not maintaining the class. And there were a lot of issues to do with bullying. There were issues with particularly, kids who are highly motivated and achieving, a lot. They were not fulfilled in such an environment. So I started praying, "Oh Lord, make a way for my son." And a few months later, when he actually had some incidents in that particular school. So a few months later, obviously I was praying, "Lord, make a way for my son. Father, make a way for my son. He needs to get out of that environment." So what happened was, God made a way because I was asking him exactly that. So a few months later, there was what's it called? It wasn't a competition. It was because he was then in year 8. So you have to sit an entrance exam to this particular private school. So we put his name down, and I was praying for God to help him. So on the day of the exam, we prayed, and I dropped him off at the school where he need to sit this exam. So he sat the exam, and then that was it. So the school said, "We will hear from them." And eventually, a few weeks later, we heard from the school, sending a letter. They first of all rang to congratulate my son that, he got a place at that school. And then they send a letter to confirm that he has a place at the school. But the trouble is that we were very excited, don't get me wrong. However, the school was a fee-paying school. It was a private school. So therefore, expense and the yearly fees were really high. Again, what did I do? I come back to God and I say, "Father, you made a way for him, my son, to get this place. You made a way for him to get this place. Lord, as you made a way for him, and I trust you to make a way for us to pay the fees." And God did exactly that. He did that. So he got the place. We sent him to the school the following year. So he started year 9 in this particular school. And the fees, as I said, were quite high. But God made a way. God made a way. God made a way. He gave me a second job. My husband picked a second job. and we both started working hard to pay the fees, because when our son started in that school, I felt he settled nicely, and academically he was doing really well. So all I want to say this morning is that God knows every situation you're going through. You see, when he said he will not leave you, that he will not forsake you, it's true. He doesn't leave you. Because at times it doesn't feel like that. As we're going through the journey of life, God is holding your hands. He is holding your hands, and there are times where he carries you through it, right? I've seen that, I have lived that, I've experienced that. It is true. You are never alone. God's presence, you know what that does? When you truly, trust him and just, present the situation, you bring the situation to him, God's presence goes before you. His presence is with you, behind you, beside you, above you, beneath you. He will never, never leave you. He will never forsake you. He's a God of his words. So what you need to do, you go back to him and you remind him of his promises concerning whatever situation you're faced with, whatever circumstance you're going through. Go back to God and remind him. Go through the Bible, find those, the verses, that tells those situations, reflect the situation you're going through, and remind God, Father, you say this to me. You promise to be with me at all times. You promise to defend me. You promise to provide to my needs. Here I am in your presence, as you are always with me, because you promise to never leave me. Father, provide, and he will provide. He will provide. I have seen it over and over in my life. God is a God of love, right? And he provides. You see, nothing you do would separate you from his love, right? Nothing, I repeat, nothing you do would separate you from God's eternal affection. Even if, others abandon you, even if others leave you, he will never leave you. Your God is constantly with you. You believe that? Stand on those words today as you go through this new week. Stand on that word. The fact that God is with you. The fact that he will never leave you. The fact that he promised to be there regardless of what you're going through. And he will carry you through it. Right? So that's exactly what he did for my son. From year 9 all the way. Yeah. All the way to year 13. He stayed in that school, and God always met school fees. He always met that need. He opened doors. He opened so many different doors for us to pay the fees, and we did. And our son is now in college, at university, and I praise God. Again, God will never leave you. He will never, never forsake you. As you go today, you go in that confidence, knowing that he will never leave you. He will never forsake you. So until the next video, take care of yourself.